Welcome everyone to V8 Online's live and exclusive coverage of the iRacing.com V8 Supercar official online series, proudly brought to you by our good friends at V8 Supercar Fan Group, Direct Height Services, and our very own V8's online superstore. Stephen Sandman Clark in the host chair for a brand new era of online broadcasting here at V8's Online, coming to you live from Okayama and broadcasting in glorious high definition for the opening round of Season 4 2013. And joining me in the studio, my co-driver for this season, and now full-time regular to the series here at V8's Online, Leo. Great. Leo, welcome to Okayama.
Yeah, thanks for the welcome there, Sandman. Very excited to be here tonight, of course. We had a fantastic season last time round, the brilliant race at Bathurst last week, and now roll on a new era, I guess. There's lots to talk about tonight, and a track that we haven't been to for a very long time.
No, exactly right. Round 3 in May 21st, 2012. So it's been a little while between drinks, and it's always exciting to come to a racetrack that we haven't been to for a while. And, a new season, new paint schemes, driver swaps, and all the rest of it. So no doubt we're in for a ripper of a season.
Oh, there's going to be a lot to run through, a lot to cover. There's more that we'll go into detail, I guess, through the actual broadcast, including things like weather changes to the, I guess there's now going to be stewards taking a bit more of a heavy hand through the races. We'll touch all of that throughout the broadcast proper, but yeah, definitely some exciting topics to talk about tonight.
Also something a little different this season here at V8's Online. Jay Kennedy taking some time out for full-time broadcasting. No doubt we'll hear from him from time to time. It's going to take some getting used to, isn't it?
I'm sure that you and I will manage, but once again, everyone said massive thanks to Jay and all the effort that he's put in over time to get V8's Online up to where it is now. So yeah, really happy to be a part of it, and we've got to give thanks to all of that. Exactly
right. Well, let's get on with round 1 from Okayama, and of course, like we do each and every week, we're trying to give our viewers a bit of an insight to the upcoming round, and tonight's hot lap from Okayama is Sean Kelly, the newest member from TTR. Sean, you there, mate?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, matey. You've had a busy off season. The change to TTR, how did all that go for you?
Yeah, a bit of a surprise. Pretty much last minute. Yeah, it's awesome to be on board with those guys. A great bunch of fellas.
Of course, I'm a little bit biased too. They are a good bunch of fellas because I have the joys of racing with those guys too. But exciting new season for you, a different driver lineup with teammates and all the rest of it. But here we are at Okayama, and you're just going to show us something a little bit different this time round instead of a hot lap.
Yeah, a little bit off quality at the moment. Had a long flight last night, so yeah, thought I might just do a fuel run and show you guys how to get around here on 2.5 litres. Hopefully.
It's an interesting topic. I'm glad you actually brought it up, mate, because fuel saving, we didn't see much of it last season. We've tried to iron it out a little bit with the calendar, but unfortunately our calculations were a little bit crumbled this season. Jay Kennedy didn't quite get the numbers right, but it's always interesting, and it's something that some people can't quite get their heads around. So we're actually quite looking forward to the onboard, mate, just to show us just how to save that little bit of fuel.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough ask, and practice you can get it right, but it's so easy to off a little bit and really. I was racing a bit anyway.
Well, mate, I think we've got you on camera, mate, so we'll get you to fire it up, get some clear track if you like, and just show us how it's done around Okayama. We'll hand it over to you, bud.
Okay. Right, so you're pretty much just going to approach the last corner in third gear and go off real smoothly. Important to have constant throttle getting out of the corners when you're fuel saving. Roll off at the finish line. Break after the shadow. Really gentle here. At 80%, roll off. Patient around this corner. Up to 4th gear, through to 5th, roll off here, brake late in the 2nd gear, short shift, try not to run yourself out of room down the grass, roll off just for 200 metres, Get real tight and come off here straight. Down second gear. Up to third. Fourth. Right there, but yeah, get straight off here. Keep it in third. That's pretty much a lap. 2.5 litres that was.
Nice work, mate. It's an amazing insight for a lot of people who are sort of new and not used to fuel saving. It's amazing just how much time you spend off the throttle coming into those braking zones.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's just important to keep up your mid corner speed and throttle constant coming out of the corner. On the short straights, try to resist going to 100%, normally 80. Get you most of the way there and only lose you a couple of hundredths. Yeah, so in a race it just becomes a nice little game of chess with the guys in front of you, in front and behind you.
Brilliant to see that bit of info from yourself, Sean. It's not something that we really get to see in detail. Throughout the race tonight, what's the balance between that fuel save and actual flat-out driving going to be?
You probably pretty much want to do exactly what I've done on every lap. Pressure the guy in front and try and get him to use it on the back straight and get them to use 50 mils, and you say 50 mils yourself. Hopefully towards the end of the race you've got half a litre, you can sort of really attack them and try and make them run out of fuel before the finish line. Good fun.
And mate, it's a tough balance, isn't it? When you're trying to save fuel, you know you need to do it to go the distance, but you've also got to race the guys around you.
Yeah, it's hard work and it's great racing, but harder for the newcomers to adjust to, so hopefully it's only one of the season.
Now we're about 5 minutes away from final qualifying, mate. You're sitting in P9 for the moment with a 1:32.098. Is there a little bit more in the Falcon, or are you pretty much going to settle with that time coming into the race?
Oh, there's certainly more. I'm just having trouble getting off back straight, and hopefully I can put a lap together. And yeah, sometimes after a couple of hours you can end up slower than you were after half an hour's practice. So fine line trying to qualify and lap every week, and everyone's going to be really fast this season.
Right, mate. We'll let you go off and get ready for qualifying. Like I said, we're only about sort of 5 minutes away. We appreciate you stopping by here at V8's Online and showing us just a bit of an insight on how to fuel save around this circuit, mate. So thanks very much and all the best for tonight.
All right, enjoy the race, guys.
Thanks, Sean. Good luck.
There you go, Sean Kelly, the newest member for DTR. And Leo, I've been racing for quite some time and I haven't quite worked out the art of fuel saving. And I'll tell you what, I might be going back and looking at that video because I was surprised at just how much time the boys really spend out of the throttle coming into the braking zone.
Patience is a big thing with it. It's something that I don't think anyone could say there's an absolute right way to do it. You know, I from what I've seen of it, it's just something that you'd have to pick up little bits and pieces depending on the situation you're in. Drafting can make a big difference. When you're behind another car, the guys can just get off the throttle early and roll into the corner a bit, save a bit of fuel that way. But it's definitely a tough thing that you can't just pick up naturally. So it's a big challenge to these drivers, and it's going to add a unique element to this race. But it's going to be exciting, just maybe in a different way to what we're used to tonight.
You're not wrong. It was interesting that you brought up the drafting technique too, because it's such a long straightaway down here at Okayama. The guys can really benefit from that draft, and that'll really help. Like you said, come fuel saving time.
It's an interesting sort of layout, this track, because it has got that very long straightaway, but there's not really any major fast corners throughout the place. There's a lot of really, really slow, just tight corners. There are double hairpin setup, which is very awkward, and there's not a lot of grip at this place either. So drivers are going to have to be very, very delicate on the throttle because, of course, wheel spin, you're losing time and burning fuel as well. That's going to be a driver's worst enemy tonight.
Just having a look at some of the track details on screen. Sorry, got season schedule on screen. Misplaced my sheet where that is, actually. Leo, you got that information there?
Yes, I've got that in front of me, Sandman. So, of course, tonight we're racing at Okayama in Japan. Now, this place hosted a pair of Formula One Grand Prix in the early 90s. So, different to see V8 Supercars here now, of course, tonight. Then we move on round 2 to Oran Park, Road Atlanta, Phillip Island, into Lagos. And then round 6, this is going to be one everybody's looking forward to, Mount Panorama. Can't wait for that one. 31 laps of the mountain. It's going to be a ripper race. Move on after that to Road America, Laguna Seca, which has been a mainstay on the schedule for a long time, Brands Hatch Grand Prix, the Watkins Glen Cup Circuit. So a little bit different to what we ran earlier in the season, late last season for that fantastic battle, because this time we'll have the Cup Chicane there, Virginia International Raceway, and then Circuit Gilles Villeneuve up in Montreal. So it's a fantastic schedule. There's plenty of great racetracks there. It's going to be something to look forward to every single week.
Of course, we touched on a little bit little earlier last time that the V8 Supercar Series headed to Okayama was round 3 back in 2012, May 21st. Your winner for that round was Madison Down, second place Josh Muggleton, and Justin Ruggie are your top 3. So I think the guys are excited about coming back here, and it does sort of it's got a different twist on it because there's a lot of guys that probably don't have too much data at this racetrack. And of course, the cars have changed a little bit with recent build updates and all the rest of it. So it does sort of level the playing field a little bit.
You've got to keep these drivers on their toes, but at the same time, that's why these guys are the best, because they can adapt, because they can jump into a new racetrack, only have a short time to prepare for it and get out there and turn these quick laps that they're doing.
Now, we're only about a minute or two away from final qualifying, and qualifying lead up to the week has been quite interesting. Vale Ritchie's put down an early time, actually quite convenient for himself, and this has taken nothing away from Vale. He punched out a 1:31.539, and then, of course, iRacing had a bit of a change to the V8 Supercar. A different aero package was put onto the V8 and made it just a fraction slower. But at the end of the day, he's punched out a really good time, but the guys that are behind him that haven't quite, got there or thereabouts for the times, they're really creeping up on that. You see Brad Ryan in P2 for the moment. He's punched out a 1:31.6. So it's good to see Brad Ryan up there. And then it's Josh Muggleton in 3rd, Madison Down 4th, John Emerson in 5th, Renz Brookman in 6th, Lee Day 7th, Dean O'Brien in 8th, Sean Kelly in 9th, and Lee Ellis is your top 10 coming into final qualifying.
Now, also, Sam, man, wouldn't it be great if we could start the first race of the season with a first-time pole sitter? Neither Vale Ritchies and Brad Ryan have had a pole position in our broadcast series, so those are the top 2 guys right now. If they can hang on, that'll be an exciting development for the race.
Mate, you're not wrong. And they're looking the goods too, because like I said, Vale's punched out a great time, and Brad's time was punched out in the previous qualifying session just before we came to air. So he's got great pace. So, a lot has to come from Muggleton and Down to get sort of within that region. But wouldn't it be good? I think we're probably on target for a first-time pole sitter.
Oh, it's going to be a cracker session coming up, isn't it? Because you've got the normal guys, Muggleton and Down, that are going to be chasing to try and overcome those 2 in front. But geez, some very competitive lap times, Ritchie and Ryan.
So we're just waiting for final qualifying to come up here and become available for us to start broadcasting. Of course, 30 laps around Okayama, and we touched on it. It's a fuel-saving round, and I think it might be in the vicinity of somewhere, maybe 15 litres. I'm not quite sure. But so the guys don't have to save a little bit. There's actually a fair bit that they have to save. So they've crunched the numbers, and they've decided that it's probably better off to fuel save than it is to make a pit stop, because you do give up a heap of time coming into this pit lane.
Just about to head into that qualifying session now, and this will be 20 minutes of fast and furious action from Okayama, and let's see where that puts us for tonight's race.
Interesting, like you said, so many different new dynamics for iRacing with the different weather that affects each and every session. You can go from one session to the other, and the weather changes in both of them. So a nice, unique format for iRacing, and something different for these guys to get their head round.
The other thing that will be interesting to watch, because it's been so long since we've been to Okayama, the cars have changed a little bit through the builds and developments of iRacing. So back to that previous round isn't really going to be a big deal. But when we get to more frequent stops on the schedule, places like Laguna Seca and Watkins Glen, which we go to quite often, if we've got a completely different weather setting, all the data might be, it's going to be new work for these guys to overcome. So it could change things up big time later on in the season.
That's exactly right. And like we touched on with weather, we've already seen the effects in Race of Champions. We saw that weather conditions, just with the breeze blowing around in different directions, really affected the cars. So something different for these guys to get used to, but it also does make an interesting element for a brand new series.
That was brilliant, wasn't it? Speaking of brilliant, right now on screen, Josh Muggleton had a fantastic season last time round and is our reigning champion. So, first event, got the number 1 on the car in this qualifying session, and he'll be very eager to start this season off on a high note to carry on with that momentum.
You're not wrong. Coming into the final part of the season, it was a battle between him and his teammate Madison Down. So both Tats.com cars really battling it out, but so good to see Muggleton with number 1 on the door. He's worked so hard in many seasons, and everyone's a well-deserving champion, but Muggo really punched away at this championship, and I think he's gonna shine probably a little bit this season. The pressure's off his shoulders now that he's got that championship under his belt, and I think we're going to see some good things out of him come this season.
Oh, and it's a fantastic battle for that title between Muggleton and Down. And now, of course, getting that first title is going to be extra confidence for Josh Muggleton. And hopefully that means another fantastic battle for us to watch as we get down to championship time later on in this season. But, of course, if we can have some other drivers get in the mix and change things up a bit, hey, that's going to be welcome too, isn't it?
You're not wrong. It only makes for great racing and great viewing here on V8 Online. And, of course, Justin Ruggier, who's not quite back yet, still with his broken arm. We're excited to see him come back because, with his injury, unfortunately took him out of the title chase, and he was one that was really starting to come on strong for V8 Supercar Fan Group.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that once Justin does get back into the seat, he's going to be eager to get out there, punch out some race wins, fight hard for some top results, and hey, that could be a cut amongst the pigeon too, take some points away from the guys that would be in a championship contention. So it's going to be a lot to follow throughout the year, isn't there?
Not wrong. Muggleton crosses the line for his first fast lap, 32.073. A little bit off his time for the week. His fastest for the week was a 31.795. Currently sitting P3. So the time they're going to look to beat to grab pole position is a 31.539. Anything better than that will get them pole. So that's the time they're looking for.
So let's have a look at Madison Down right now. Currently sitting P4 with a 31.8.
He looks like he got walked a bit of traffic there, so he's aborted that very quickly.
Yeah.
We just scroll through a couple of different drivers here. As we get a couple of guys who are on outlaps, so we'll just try and see who's ready to have a red hot go. Interesting that some of the lap traffic has already started to come into play at the moment. Like I said, Madison Down on his first lap already walked, and of course that's one of the big things, isn't it? These guys are all trying to have a red hot go, and at the same time everyone is trying to keep a conscious eye on the rear view mirror because they don't want to bugger up other people's laps too.
Well, there's 18 cars on track right now, and this isn't the biggest racetrack in the world, and I think that the traffic problem is just going to be compounded by the fact that so many of these tight corners are just one-line corners. It's not like it's a big wide racetrack with, fast sweeping bends. It's very easy to get out of the way. There's some very difficult complexes there where you're going to hold people up. It's just a fact.
The man on screen, Mullen, has just started his first hot lap of this session. trying to see, he's on the timesheets. He sits P21 at the moment, which is fastest time for the week at 1:32.589.
Now, something else that we'll no doubt be touching on throughout tonight's broadcast is a lot of new liveries, a lot of new colours out there. It's a fantastic looking car that Marlon's driving there, the Dayco sponsored Ford. There's a lot of other interesting colours out there too tonight.
You're not wrong. That's actually one thing I do actually really enjoy with the new season. It's a commentator's nightmare though, with different drivers, different paint schemes and all the rest of it. But it is good to see that some teams put shiny new liveries out there, and some teams make just some subtle changes to their previous skins. But it's good to see, and you know, it's always good to have a bit of a shake-up with silly season with driving movements. Looks like Marlon's lap's fairly tidy so far.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten out of shape at all. This complex that he's heading into now is that double hairpin that I was talking about. Such a long corner, especially this one right now, and they have to hold on the throttle big time. Patience is a big, big key to putting a lap together here.
You're not wrong. I turned a couple of laps the other day just to sort of get a feel for the place, and exactly right, you just want to mash the throttle and get on with it, but you know if you do, you're going to step the rear out and just throw away tenths of seconds. Check out the man on screen, John Emerson, in a fancy new paint job. Of course, ABC's Good Game has got on the side of his car, and great show too. And of course, our very own Madison Down featured on that last week with his Race to Reality win too. So that was good to see.
A good-looking vehicle that they've got. Emerson just pulling off at the side there after completing his lap.
Short-lived, yeah.
But always good to get these new colours on screen. Now here's a man who's had an exciting build-up to this race. Brad Ryan punched out that massive lap of a 31.6. That put him up into P2, and that was only in the previous qualifying session. So we know that there's pace out there.
Of course, this is his first outing with TTL, so he'd be chuffed with his results. And yeah, if he was able to punch that out, and we had a look at his lap too, and there was no help there of a draft, and of course there's time to be made down that back straight if you can get a friendly tow down that straight. So a 31.650 for P2, he'd be absolutely over the moon with it.
And that lap was a 31.9, so not far off at the moment. Definitely looking to improve, as they all would be.
Here's a man who's been in and out of our series for a little while. I think he's going to dedicate some time to the series this season, but it's Mitch McLeod, so it's good to see him back, and no doubt he'll be a force to be reckoned with once he gets himself reacquainted with the car again.
Very loud paint scheme on that TTR Ford. Looks great, doesn't it? Mitch McLeod Designs plastered on the side of the vehicle. Definitely going to stand out in the pack, I think.
Of course, no stranger to the V8s because he spent a fair bit of time in the series, and of course, I think he's got a championship under his belt too. So, but a little bit of time out of the seat, but no doubt he will be up the pointy end. Just trying to have a look on the timesheet. He's got him in P13 at the moment at 32.292. He's nearly bettered that in this session already, so he's on the pace.
Coming into that tricky hairpin, you've got to hold a really tight line to make sure you can make a full apex to this double left-hander coming up. I think this is, in my opinion, one of the toughest parts on the track. Also where this low grip is going to be exemplified, and the curves that we saw just there also make a bit of a challenge for our drivers. Seems to be a bit taily at the moment, McLeod.
Yeah, not helping the fact that he touched a little bit of grass here on the edge of that curb, but still hold together, and he's going on with it, so hopefully the times aren't too shabby. The final turn, and this is down the front straight, crossing the start-finish line. He needs to better his time of a 1:32.292. Right, 32.390.
Only a tenth off, but hopefully he'll be able to find that.
So Michael Fabian now on screen. Does a good job. Oh no, looks like he's going to abort that lap. Oh, there we go. No, sorry, we're hearing reports that he's just finished that lap. So his fastest time for this session of 32.683.
Got Scott, you're on screen now in the V8 Supercar fan group, Falcon. Scott hasn't set a time in this session. He has a 32.8. Trying to find where he is on the timesheets right now.
Yeah, 8.36 his fastest time. I think he finds himself, he's outside the top 25 at this stage, so probably a little bit further back than we're used to seeing Scotty. 32.850. So still outside the top 25. Needs 32.675 to sneak into the top 25 at this stage. Go and have a look at his teammate, the other V8 Supercar fan group, Falcon, Lee Days. He comes out of the final turn. His fastest time for the week of 1:31.977, sitting in 3.7 for the moment. Session's going by. We've already 13 minutes gone in this 20-minute final qualifying session, so the guys really need to make the most of the minutes remaining if they want to sneak up the grid. It's going to be an interesting race. We've spoken about the fuel saving, and I'm really interested to see how these guys are going to start racing each other and save fuel at the same time.
Qualifying is always important. It doesn't matter what track we're at or what sort of race we've got, but I kind of think that it's also going to be important in a different way here, because if you're starting at the front of the grid, at the front of the pack, you'd probably be find it a bit easier to save fuel because you won't have that pressure of having to come through the field. The guys that are starting back in the pack are going to have to use their throttle, use, I guess, more power, more fuel than what they'd want to be to get through these other cars. Whereas if you're at the front, you can just set your own pace and drive to your number.
There's one thing I think is interesting too, is that we haven't quite ruled out, I guess, as Lee just loops it there. But we haven't quite ruled out that maybe someone may take that gamble and have a fuel stop and have a charge to the end. But I know most of the field have probably crunched the numbers and they've decided that the fastest way is to save fuel. But, who knows?
If someone does decide to give that a go, it'll certainly be exciting. Might not be the best result at the end, but I wouldn't hurt to see someone try.
Yeah, it'd be good viewing anyway.
Got Rob Hartley on screen now in the Direct Clutch Services Falcon. Another great looking car. I think they're all great looking cars at the moment. It's fantastic effort put into by all the painters to get these great looking cars out there. Big moment. And aborts the lap.
Yeah, and that's a take the hat off to everyone that's involved in the series too, because I think back in the early days there wasn't too much effort put into the paint schemes, but now that V8's online, we're broadcasting and make the most of these series. There's so many good looking cars out there. Go back to the vision of Josh Muggleton in the Tats.com Falcon. His fastest time for this session of 31.849, still yet to improve on his time. So he's there or thereabouts. He's pretty consistent with his times and still sitting in a pretty good position. P3 is not too shabby.
Only a tenth off his best in this session, and that is actually the quickest lap of the session so far at 31.8. We haven't really seen anyone make any big gains or improvements so far in this session, which is a bit strange. I was probably expecting a little bit more activity given how Brad Ryan was able to jump up the timesheets like he did.
Yeah, of course that maybe have something to do, maybe a little bit of the temperature
actually,
and the weather.
as we say that, John Emerson jumps to the top of the sheets with a 31.75, which will put him
P3.
third on the grid.
Fantastic, that's a great effort.
How's that for timing? Just as I'm talking, but that's exactly what I was talking about, and it's exactly what I wanted to see as well.
Oh, if that's a commentator's curse, mate, I think everyone will appreciate that one.
I'll claim that. You're welcome, John.
It's better than Kennedy's curse anyway.
So now we've actually got 3 minutes left in this session. Do you think that anyone else is going to be able to... think anyone else can pull it out and break up this TTL 1-2-3 that we've got?
Yeah, it's interesting. Not going to rule it out, but yeah, time ticking away. These guys really need to be on a lap now or be back at the pits and starting their out lap because it's just over a minute and a half for a lap round here, so time slowly getting away from these guys. So one of the TTR drivers, Lee Ellis, heads into turn 1. He sits, well, he was in P10 coming into this session with a 32.228. He hasn't got anywhere near that time. It looks like he can report this one too.
If he gets out of the pits quick, he should have time for one more lap. There's just coming up on 2 minutes left in the session.
We head to our series runner-up for last season, Madison Down in the Tats.com Falcon. Let's see, his time's a 31.857. Absolutely, there's not much in it for the top 4 or 5 guys, but what's his fastest for the session so far? 31.974. So he's not all that far from his PB, but just hasn't quite got there yet.
There's a lot of guys that have been just a tenth off in this session so far for times, though they're not leaving much out on the table when it comes to their preparations. Also shows just the amount of effort that these guys do put in the lead up to these races.
Oh, might have been bugged enough. I thought Muggo might have been a bit of a thorn in his side there, or thought maybe he might have been able to use a draft there and maybe team up with these guys and work together, but we haven't seen a lot of that. Not much drafting work going down the back straight. Inside the final 60 seconds of this final qualifying session. A little bit of traffic here for Muggo. Let's see if that comes into play. Sorry, Madison Down.
Another driver who has managed to improve their time, Lee Day, has improved by just under 100th of a second. So there's nothing in it.
At least he's improved, that's the main thing.
That's right.
Is this traffic? Let's see what he can carry down this straight. He'll have a little bit of a tow here.
That's assuming that he wasn't held up through that corner.
Oh, new PB for him, 1:31.812. So he's improved on his time, but hasn't improved on his position, unfortunately. That brings out the checkered flag. There's only a couple of cars that are probably left on their last flying hot lap.
First of those to cross the line will be Scott Uren. Now,
needs to get the 32.6s to be inside the top 25. 32.9.
looks like a trio of cars out there at the moment. Muggleton, O'Brien, and Sean Kelly. See if any of they're pushing hard.
Looks like Kelly's aborted that lap now. Ooh, Muggo a little bit taily on exit there. So what's he got left in the Tats.com Falcon as he comes around the final turn to grab pole? He needs a 1:31.539. Needs to go better than that as he heads to the strike. It's going to be a 32.057.
And Dean O'Brien behind him also wasn't able to improve. That looks like it wraps up our qualifying session, Sam, man.
Yep, 20 minutes done and dusted, mate. Now the guys will go back and reset and think about the big one. We've got 30 laps at Okayama, and that's only just a few minutes' time. A couple of guys have made some jumps, and of course John Emerson with his fastest time of this session, 31.754 over Madison Down, Josh Muggleton, Brad Ryan, Lee Day, Bo Cattell, Dean O'Brien, Mitch McLeod, Wayne Burke, and Michael Fabian round out your top 10. And of course we'll go through the full qualifying order when we come back. And we bring back all the action from Okayama, 30 laps ahead of us. Really looking forward to it. So stick around. You're watching V8's Online's live and exclusive coverage of the iRacing.com V8 Supercar Series. Proudly brought to you by our friends at V8 Supercar Fan Group, Direct Clutch Services, and our very own V8's Online Superstore. We'll be back in just a few minutes' time.
This
Welcome everyone to V8 Online's live and exclusive coverage of the iRacing.com V8 Supercar official online series, proudly brought to you by our good friends at V8 Supercar Fan Group, Direct Clutch Services, and our very own V8's online superstore. Stephen Sandman Clark in the host chair for a brand new era of online broadcasting here at V8's Online, coming to you live from Okayama and broadcasting in glorious high definition for the opening round. Joining me in the studio, my co-driver for this season and now full-time regular to the series here at V8's Online, Leo Gray. Leo, welcome to Okayama.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sam, man. Gee, what a race we're going to be in for tonight. We've already seen an exciting qualifying session. A lot of new developments, being a new season, of course. Drivers in different teams, new paint schemes out there, and a lot of changes to the simulator itself to the V8 Supercar series. So bring it on. Let's get started.
We've already had an interesting qualifying session. We'll go through those in just a few minutes. But while we've got the chance to, we also want to welcome, thanks to Astro Gaming Headsets, our very own pit reporter, Reece Gardner. How you going, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, guys. I'm really looking forward to this season. It's been an interesting off-season, and with some updates to the car and an all-new schedule, it's looking to be a pretty good season. I'm looking forward to it.
And keep you a little bit busy, mate, till the guys have got some fuel-saving problems to unfold tonight.
Yeah. I think it came about as a result of iRacing changing the draft model for the V8 Supercar about midway through the week, and that screwed up a few people's strategies. So it's definitely going to be something to watch.
Now, speaking of that, it's been interesting actually. Have you heard much of the drivers' comments as far as that? I know it's certainly it's been a bit of a game changer, especially when you're talking about the top speed down at Bathurst at Conrod.
Yeah, certainly. I haven't really heard much from the drivers, but I do know that Marlon McMullen is expecting to fuel save, and as far as that, I'll tell you as the race goes on.
All right, we'll have a look at our race preview here at Okayama. 30 laps the guys got to contend with, 11 turns, 2.31 miles or 3.724 kilometres, and like we said, a fuel-saving race, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how this all unfolds.
It's a tight little track. It's been a long time since we've been here with the V8 Supercar series. Okayama, of course, hosted 2 Formula 1 Grand Prix in the early 90s, and it's going to be a difficult track for our V8 Supercar drivers. Not a lot of data to fall back on. It's a tight little track. Going to be exciting.
Oh, we're just hearing word too that Brad Ryan, who punched out a tremendous time in qualifying, would have started this race in P2, has missed out on the top split by 6 I-rating points. That's what we're hearing now word through.
Wow, that's going to change things. Was looking forward to seeing Brad starting from the front row. But, well, big development. Hopefully he should do well in the second split.
Oh, heartbreak, isn't it? Anyway, we'll quickly go through the order. It's Var Ritchie's who's grabbed pole with the 131.539 over teammate John Emerson, 31.754. Josh Muggleton, our reigning V8 Supercar champ, he was starting third with Madison Down in fourth, Renz Brookman in fifth, Lee Day in sixth, Dean O'Brien in seventh, Sean Kelly in eighth, Lee Ellis in ninth, and Bo Cattell in 10th. In 11th, it's Bo Kibbis. In 12th, Mitch McLeod. Curtis Chipaway, good to see him back to the series in P13. Wayne Burke in 14th. Marlon McMullen in 15th. Tobias Zerni in 16th. Michael Fabian in 17th place. In 18th, a little bit further back than we're used to, for Scott Uran. In 19th, Clayton Brooks. And in 20th place, it's Richard Hunter. In 21st, it's Phil Hobbs. And in 22nd, it's Christopher Henn. So... oh, mate, interesting to see that Brad's missed out. That'll be heartbreak for him.
Oh, definitely. It's a shame to see, but we've still got a race to cover ourselves here. And it's a pretty mixed up grid. There's some guys further back than we would have expected, some new names towards the front. Val Ritchie's, this is actually his first ever pole position in our broadcast series, so congratulations to Val. And John Emerson also on the front row. That's probably a bit different to what we're used to, but it should make for an exciting event.
Yeah, you gotta love a new season. You love a new season with new driver lineups and all the rest of it. So you can see everyone's had a red hot go and a little bit of mixture in through the grid, and I think that's going to make for an absolute cracker of a race.
Definitely will. We mentioned it in the qualifying session that with the fuel save here, this is going to be perhaps a different sort of race to what we're used to or what the drivers are used to. They might not like the fuel save, but it's going to make for an exciting race because of all the different elements that is going to have to be covered for this event.
So we're just waiting for the cars to grid up. Of course, the guys got 30 laps in front of us. Fuel saving, you hear the revs rise as we're getting ready for round one. The iRacing V8 Supercar Series here, V8's online. We're underway from Okayama, right behind him, you've got the Tats.com boys. It looks like Richie's has been swamped at the start.
Yeah, the two Tats.com cars made it 3 wide, and they nearly just touched side-to-side contact there. John Anderson is the one who's made the jump, and he's clear, heading down towards that hairpin.
Great start for Emerson. We'll apologise, we haven't quite got Emerson's skin up there. I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but hopefully we can rectify that.
But he's right out in the front of the pack. Two Tats.com Fords chasing. You've got Muggleton, reigning champion, second position. Madison down in third.
Have a look at these guys scrambling into the hairpin now. The guys got to give a little bit of give and take into this braking zone. They've got to be careful. So easy to lock a brake and take out a couple of guys, but everyone's done a great job to get through there.
A lot of congestion mid-pack, a tiny bit of contact back there it seems. People almost going 3 wide, and we reach what is probably one of the most difficult sections of track here.
These guys aren't giving up an inch, are they? You can still see them side by side racing back here. Marlon and who's that, Michael Fabian there now. They just get a bit of line to stern there.
And this double hairpin complex, it's going to make for a lot of 2 wide racing because, of course, having that tight left followed by the right, it's going to be difficult to clear another car.
So it's lap 1 of 30. Our race leader, John Emerson, over Josh Muggleton, Madison down, Val Richards in 4th, Lee Day in 5th, Rance Brookman, Sean Kelly, Bo Cubis, Dean O'Brien and Lee Ellis. Pretty clean opening lap. Just bear with us guys as we refresh our skins and try and get Emerson's skin to come up. Unfortunately, great coverage this season where he's got the ABC's good game on his car. We saw that in qualifying, so hopefully we can get that sorted for the race. So the action picking up back here, we've got this Marlon. These guys all having a go.
This hairpin's going to be an action spot. Bit of side-by-side action behind Marlon.
Oh, here in Dean O'Brien's had a bit of a moment there. Tell you what, interesting dynamic we spoke about in qualifying where these guys have got a fair bit of fuel to save up there. It's in the vicinity of somewhere 15 litres, so these guys have got their work cut out, and it's hard enough to save fuel as it is, but these guys have to race each other at the same time.
Now speaking of that, John Emerson has pulled the gap out to 1.2 seconds back to Josh Muggleton. So the big thing to follow is how hard people are pushing versus how well people are saving fuel. So I don't think we're really going to see the pack string out so much, because if you can pace yourself, that's definitely going to be advantageous towards the end of the race. But still, having said that, this top 7, they're going to have a bit of a fight on their hands, I think.
Battle here, Val Ritchie's lead day, but you think the guys, if they could, they'll be happy to pretty much tuck behind each other and use that draft to full effect, because every bit of fuel counts obviously, and so you don't want to be racing the guys around you too much, but at the same time you want to be smart about it. You don't want to leave it too late to get the position.
Now when we say patience is key to saving fuel, it doesn't just mean patience on the throttle, it's also going to be about timing your moves. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys that, maybe if you're sitting 2nd or 3rd on the road, you might be happy to sit there and wait until later on to make a move, but guys that are further down, they're going to have to get the foot in and make up some ground. And down in the back of the pack, we've got some action. Looks like Dean O'Brien and Bo Cubis side by side there. That double hairpin that we were talking about.
Just have a look. I think maybe Lee Ellis has just given up a spot there to Wayne Berg, so managed to get a position off him as they come down the front straight. Oh, one of the cars back there, was that Mitch McLeod, was it, back there on the grass?
Very easy to run wide on these corners. A lot of them are a decreasing radius type corner, being that they get tighter after the apex, so it can be a bit tricky to follow, especially if you're trying to put some pressure on the guy in front of you.
Tell you what, I'm interested in Emerson's pace. He's got himself a 1.5 second margin over Josh Muggleton, so that the good game Falcon is pretty hooked up at the moment. So I know all these guys are pretty smart with their fuel numbers and all the rest of it, and most of the guys have got a program that will really tell them just how much fuel they need to have to make the race and what their fuel number currently is per lap. So no doubt he knows what he's doing, but it's interesting. I wouldn't have picked that he'd have that sort of margin in the opening laps.
He was 4/10 quicker on that last lap, and you would certainly think that Emerson would know what he's doing. He's a professional, of course, won a lot of races in the Grand Am Series.
Josh Muggleton looks like he's going to give up a spot there to Madison Down. I wonder if he got a little bit of a cut track penalty and had to give that position up. So that'll change it a little bit there for Muggleton, so he'll be back to third place behind his teammate Madison Down.
Something that is exciting to watch right now is these Osram cars.
The action on screen. So Michael Fabian having a nice little battle there with Marlon McMullen. Looks like Tobias is coming into the mix too. So Michael Fabian in 15th, Marlon McMullen in 16th, and Tobias is only in 17th.
Got on screen right now this battle that I was talking about before. Bo Cubis leading the teammates of O'Brien and Burke, and Lee Ellis trying to buy into the fight as well. These guys have been racing quite hard, which maybe not what we would have expected this early in the race, but it's exciting to watch.
Oh, a little bit of nose to tail action there. Is that Lee Ellis in the back of Wayne Burke?
Let's ride on board with Lee Ellis and get a great shot of this this fight. Teammates, nice move. That's Wayne Burke on Dean O'Brien. Moving Burke up to position 9. You can just hear how delicate they have to be on the throttle through that right-hander.
Nice opportunity move there from Wayne Burke, wasn't he? He saw the margin and put it up the inside and got the job done. So that relieves the pressure from him. And he had the back of, or he had Ellis right on the back of him. So he's now be able to open up a bit of a margin over his teammate Dean O'Brien. Speaking of teammates, it's all happening here. Muggleton's pretty keen to get that position back. Obviously, he had that cut track penalty and had to give up the position. So looks like Down just run a little bit wide there, and Muggleton's being able to get the power down.
It's a tough corner, that hairpin onto the straight. A lot of different lines through it. But at this point, Madison Down's still able to hold on. Val Ritchie's closing up under brakes. Behind that, we've got Wayne Burke having a look on Bo Cubis. Looks like he's going to get the position.
Oh, nice. Just ran him out a little bit wide. Oh, the contact there. Ellis got involved too.
They're definitely going at it, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely had a look up the inside there. A little bit of side-by-side contact now. Looks like O'Brien's going to make the move up there. Contact! He's going to push him wide too. Ellis will try and capitalise on the move as well.
Wow, elbows out. No love lost there. Don't think Bo Cubis will be done. Round they go.
Goes. The TDR Falcon is gone. He's sideways in that contact. No. Big incident back there. That's going to be race over.
He's taken out Fabian. Michael Fabian, innocent bystander and all that. Lee Ellis is victim of side-by-side contact there with the Osram. One of the Osram cars. Didn't see who that was.
Massive damage to Lee Ellis. That is game over, but unfortunate to get caught up in that incident. Came round, had absolutely nowhere to go and made contact with Lee Ellis. So Fabian will head to the pits. You'll see when we watch the race recall replay, you can see the contact between Ellis and unfortunately Fabian comes around the corner, absolutely nowhere to go, and that's night over for him.
It all starts a couple of corners back with that contact between O'Brien and Bo Cubis. And then Ellis gets turned.
Geez, while all that's been happening, John Emerson now 2.5 seconds. He's got that gap over Madison down. That's incredible, the margin he's starting to pull.
He's been the quickest car on track pretty well every single lap of this race so far, but like we said, he has to know what he's doing. Fuel save is a big part of tonight, so he's got to be driving to a number, and if he's that clear in front of the field, obviously he thinks that he knows exactly what he has to do to win this race.
Looks like Lee Day's going to have Prince Brookman all over the back of him there. These guys are battling out for 5th and 6th position.
And they're not that far off position 2 and 3 of the Tats.com cars either, so this is pretty well, you can call a 5-car battle. If those guys in front decide to get a little bit excited, that will bring Day and Brookman right into the fight.
Well, that's it, and regardless of the situation at the moment, all these guys aren't guaranteed to make it home on fuel. Obviously everyone's trying their best to fuel save, but the pace that everyone's running, you just never know. They might come up short, may have to pit, or just may run out of fuel altogether.
Yeah, looks like Brookman was having a look there, just poking the nose out, but just showing Day that he is there. And now it looks like Lee Day has definitely joined onto the back of Val Ritchie's. So this fight is going to grow.
Oh, a little bit of action there between teammates too, between Down and Muggleton. Out of the two, looks like Muggleton's a lot more racier than what Down wants to be at the moment.
Yeah, he was able to take a bit of a tighter line through that second hairpin than Down did. Just looked a little bit sharper on the turn in at that point. We'll bring up the gains and losses on the screen now. 9 laps into the race, you can see that John Emerson has moved up a spot to take the lead, but our big mover at the moment, Wayne C. Burke, up 6 positions. Everyone else has pretty well held station. He's been the only one to make some big moves. Losers on that, Val Ritchie's 3 positions back from pole. And then, of course, also have got Lee Ellis and Michael Fabian who have dropped out of the race.
While all that action's going on, thanks to Astro Gaming headsets, we'll go to our man in the pits, Reece Gardner.
Yeah, looks like in that case you guys are a bit ahead of me on the information front. Michael Fabian tried pulling out of his pit box, but it seems that as Lee Ellis is, he's out of this race. I had a little bit of a conversation with Matt Burgess from Overclockers AU, and he said that Fabs walked under a ladder and tripped over a black cat while juggling mirrors.
We shouldn't laugh because it's absolute heartbreak. He had absolutely nowhere to go. Thanks, Reece. We'll check all the action back out on track. But
Bale round.
Riches is gone. Looks like he got on the power, and that's going to be. He's going to lose a number of spots there.
Yeah, I heard Marlon McMullen saying in the Powerball Racing team speak that it's not over yet. There will probably be more incidents further down the line. It looks like it's starting to happen.
Yeah, there's a couple of cars involved in that one. Looks like Renz Brookman might have got some damage in there as well. Just all happened so fast. You had let's try and bring up a race recall replay.
Man, looks like he just did it all by himself. And yeah, unfortunately, Renz got into him and might have a little bit of damage to the front of his Falcon.
Yeah, it's a shame. It was a fantastic run from both of those drivers.
Just goes to show how hard these guys are trying. Like, we know they're saving fuel, and normally you see these when the guys are getting on the throttle when they snap sideways. Usually it's when guys are having a red hot go, but you'd think these guys would be a little bit easier on the throttle. But it's easy to do in these cars. It was just a bit of bad luck. He's given up a fair few positions and now finds himself back in 8th position now for Val Riches.
Yeah, not a good run for our pole sitter, but hopefully he can get the head down. And still 20 laps left in this race. If he can keep it clean, there's still plenty of time to get a good result in the bag.
Speaking of that, our race leader has given up half a second to Madison Down. Last time round, it was John Emerson with a 1:33.952 to Madison Down's 33.456. So the guys are just starting to slowly reel in Emerson. Maybe Emerson's just got a bit of an eye on his number, or maybe Madison was just saving early fuel at the start. So it's going to be a cracker as the laps go on.
Yeah, well, Emerson had that, having that 2.5 second lead, maybe he's thought that he can turn it down a little bit, get a little more fuel in the bag and save it perhaps for he might need it at the end should there be a bit of a fight for the win.
Because don't forget, Emerson, no stranger to winning. He claimed his first win at Zandvoort. He had plenty of pressure. I think that was from Josh Muggleton for the win. It was a great battle to watch, and you know, he's no stranger to the pressure. He really didn't crack once at Zandvoort, and that was brilliant to watch. Well, we've got a chance. We might quickly run through the top 10. It's John Emerson over Madison Down and Josh Muggleton. In 4th place, Lee Day. Renz Brookman in 5th. Sean Kelly in 6th. Wayne Burt in 7th. Var Riches has slipped back to 8th, and he's got all over the back of him is Dean O'Brien for 9th. And then rounding out your 10 is Mitch McLeod. But it looks like Dean O'Brien really pressuring the back of Var Riches as they come into the hairpin.
And we've got Val Riches at this point is also putting pressure on Wayne Burke. So those two Osram cars have been in the thick of it, getting plenty of screen time, but exactly what you want for your sponsors, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. These guys have had a good battle up through the field, and yeah, they've been over-capitalised on some of the dramas, but you know, Wayne's pace hasn't been too bad. You saw that he clipped up a couple of positions there early, so it's good to see him, and just it'd be interesting to see if he can just start to pull away a little bit here.
Yeah, this is the tightest battle on track at the moment. But just looking back a bit further through the field, we've got Bo Cubis and Mullen on screen right now.
Tobias back there, and one driver that I'm probably a little bit surprised back in 16th position is Scott Uren in the V8 Supercar Fan Group Falcon.
He was having a fantastic run at our Race of Champions event at Bathurst earlier. Maybe Okayama just not really feeling it for Scott tonight, but I think we can see him further up through the ranks in some of the other races in the season.
While we were talking about that, great little battle here, Val Riches has managed to get past Wayne Burke. This battle too between Lee Day and Renz Brookman. I think Renz was pretty lucky. He managed to get away with not too much damage to the front of that V8's Online Falcon.
Yeah, that's good news. It would be unfortunate to have Renz taken out for an incident like that, you know, not of his own doing, but currently running in a very strong position 5, putting the pressure on Lee Day for 4th. Top 5 has spread out a little bit though compared to what we'd seen it earlier. Now looks like we're about a second between each of the cars, down to Sean Kelly in 6th place.
And that includes our race leader, John Emerson over Madison Down. Last time round, that margin was under 1 second, so it'll be interesting to see what it is this time round. As they start lap 13 of 30, it's now 0.8 of a second. So really starting to change up now as these guys are on sort of different strategies as far as saving fuel.
Yeah, as this closes up, the race is really going to heat up, and very curious to see exactly how these two drivers are playing it. Emerson jumped out to that big lead early, whilst Madison Down had a bit of a fight with his Tats.com teammate. And now it's all coming right back together again. Behind that though, we've got an overtaking move. Who's that there? We've got Brookman's gotten around Lee Day. See if we can find a replay of that. Down at the hairpin, Brookman on Day. So we'll check this out on the race recall replay. Textbook move, just up the inside into that hairpin corner, and easily claims the spot.
Tell you what, it's getting pretty interesting up front. Emerson's really going to have a mirror full of that Tats.com Falcon and Madison down. You can really see him starting to close in now. And of course, Madison will be starting to benefit from just that little bit of draft there that Emerson will be creating. And that'll definitely be working in Madison's fuel number range.
Emerson has been under this kind of pressure before, though. Speaking of pressure, though, Curtis Chipaway, he's a driver that's looking to move in on these Osram cars. They once again been in the thick of everything tonight.
And good to see Curtis back in the series too. The Can-Am boys have made a return to the online series, so it's good to have him back.
Fantastic looking car, isn't it? Presentation is brilliant on this Can-Am Motorsports Falcon.
Of course, one of the difficulties these guys have got is the time difference, because these guys are racing from the States, so we appreciate them making the effort. It'd be a bit difficult sometimes getting out of bed at the best of times, but to get up and race consistently, we appreciate that they go to the effort. They obviously love their V8 racing.
If you're going to get out of bed early, this is what you get up for, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
Now, the driver he's chasing, Mitch McLeod, is definitely feeling the pressure, I think. Getting a bit sideways through that sequence of corners. So hopefully Curtis will be able to make the move happen soon. Yeah, what a great shot out the front of this car. Just shows you how close and intense the fighting is between these drivers.
So much action. It's still John Emerson leading over Madison Down and Josh Muggleton. They're your top three. Those guys have got themselves a 4-second margin over Renz Brookman back there in fourth. So I think you just never know how it's all going to play out. But these guys are probably the top three, looking quite comfortable at this stage. Still, it's only lap 15 of 30, so we're just making the halfway mark of this race. And man, it'd be interesting just to see some of the fuel numbers that these guys have got at the moment.
Still plenty more to play for tonight. And gee, up at the front, it's still closer than it ever has been. But Josh Muggleton seems like he's starting to close up slightly on the back of his Tats.com teammate. I think we'll see this just start to get tighter and tighter as we get down towards the end of this race. But two drivers that have been right all over each other since, it seems, since the green flag. Wayne C. Burke and Dean O'Brien.
Great little battle between teammates, and of course you always love seeing these guys having a good battle on track. And of course the one rule you want to have between teammates is they don't come together, and they've done a pretty good job so far. They've managed to miss a couple of incidents that have happened around them, but so far so good.
Yep.
Well, we've got a chance. We'll cross to our man Reece Gardner. Thanks to Astro Gaming Headsets. I believe you've got some really good information for us about Split 2, mate.
Yeah, this is the first ever official mid-race update from Split 2, and there's some pretty close racing going on right now. There's a big chain of cars from 10th to about 15th. Nick Rainbird currently in 14th, but the top 10 in Split 2 as of right now is Brad Ryan, Ian Ford, Adrian Stratford in 3rd, Samuel Collins 4th, Paul Gallen 5th, Michael Schreier 6th, Sanjin Dalalich in 7th, Dave Oliver in 8th, Carwin May in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Brett Stiles for TTR, who is being harassed quite a bit by Jared Philsall driving for ANZ.
Fantastic work, Reece. We look forward to getting another update before the race is over too, mate. It's good to see all the action going on there. Obviously, Brad would be fairly disappointed the great time that he had in his fourth back in the second split.
Yeah, that is a shame. But I will give you guys an update at the end of the race on who finished where.
Thanks, mate. There you go, Reece Gardner. Thanks for Astro Gaming Headsets. You did a great job with this action. Have a look at this between Mitch McLeod and Curtis Chipaway.
Geez, how close do you like it, boys?
I don't know if Mitch likes it that close. He'd be looking at his rear view and seeing that Curtis is pretty hungry.
Oh, he's... How's this for a shot? Let's have a look out the back of Mitchell McLeod's car. Got a bumper full of Can-Am Falcon.
Give you a real good understanding of just the sort of ground and where sort of Curtis is a little bit stronger. So it's actually, I love seeing these camera shots just to see who's got what pace in what sort of part of the track of the racetrack they are.
Seeing different lines from the drivers in this first sequence of corners, but Mitch seems to be pulling a little bit of a gap. The back half of the track is where Curtis seems real strong. And it seems like just the turn-in isn't quite there on Mitchell McLeod's Falcon, which is really going to hurt him in the tight, twisty stuff.
Here comes Curtis. I reckon he's going to look up the inside here. Can he get the job done? Under brakes up the inside of Mitch McLeod. He will. Mitch will just move a little bit over and just give him some room there. Nice move from Curtis. He set him up all the way down that back straight, got the draft, and actually did a nice job of getting up the inside in the hairpin. Oh, how's he got you back here, Marlon?
Yeah, Marlon and Cubis running side by side. Marlon was up the inside of that hairpin, but Bo was able to hold the high ground and reclaim the position back. But Marlon having another look. But Scott Uren behind them having a look on Tobias Cerny as well. So this is a nice little pack.
Yeah, a little whoopsie between these guys could give up 3 or 4 spots. So they're all trying to have a red hot go, but look in their mirror at the same time. Great little battle between these, and these guys are battling out for 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th.
These guys play hard no matter where you are on the track.
Just one man. Var Ritchie's, of course, he had his dramas started from pole position and unfortunately got tangled up in an incident. Sitting back in 7th place at the moment and hasn't got too much drama around him. A little bit of a margin in front of him to Sean Kelly, but it's going to be a bit of a lonely race for him back there. He'd be definitely disappointed with what unfolded for tonight.
Yeah, not the race that he was hoping for, but hopefully we'll see more of Al over the next coming weeks. And who knows, maybe we'll be able to pick up another race win for us.
How's this margin up front though? John Emerson, Madison down. It's 0.9 of a second. It's sort of been fluctuating a little bit, a 10th here and a 10th there, both going in each driver's favour. But what are we? End of lap 18 of 30. So the guys have still got a long way to go as far as what fuel they need to save. But Madison is just slowly starting to close that margin.
The lap times have been a bit back and forth as we go along though. That time it was about a 10th in the favour of Madison down. But a few laps prior, John Emerson was still able to pull out, where was he, a 33.5, so not over yet by a long shot. And speaking of that, Renz Brookman in 4th place has just done the fastest lap, or the fastest car on the track that lap, and that was a 23.4. And Lee Day behind him on the same sort of pace, so these top 3 might have company soon, depending on how Renz and Lee are going with their fuel.
Well, that's exactly it. We just don't know what sort of what fuel numbers these guys got on board. Whether they try a different strategy, whether you go hard at the start and save fuel at the end, or whether you start off taking it easy and then make a real push towards the end of the race. So different strategies obviously playing out, and what this top 5 now covered by 4 seconds. So definitely not over.
Oh yeah.
One man who's dropped off the pace a little bit, Mitch McLeod. He was having a great battle there with Curtis Chipaway, and he's now made up a bit of a margin on Mitch, and Mitch has fallen him back into the claws of Bo Cattell.
Not a lot of grip at this place, so a lot of sliding around is very easy to have happen to your Falcon, and you'll kill the tyres.
Yeah, it looks like he's
time at all.
struggling with maybe front grip, so a fair bit of understeer maybe in that Falcon. While all that be going on, Emerson's lost a bit more ground to Madison Down. It's now under half a second, so Madison Down just slowly starting to claw back that margin. Last time round a 33.895 for Down to a 34.320 for Emerson.
Last lap by Madison Down was closer than he has been this whole race to John Emerson. He was right up on the back of him coming into the hairpin that we're at right now. But once again, they're just sort of trading lap times.
He's right there now, definitely giving John something to think about. So they're going to cross the line, it'll be 10 laps to go. And this is probably the most pressure that John's had throughout this race. He's had everything go his own way. He had a great start, pulled out a nice little margin in the opening laps, and only just now at lap 20, it's now under half a second. So it's really going to come down to these final 10 laps between Emerson, Down, and of course Muggleton, Brookman and Day. They're still in the fold too.
Oh, this top five's closing up. It's now 3.5 seconds back from John Emerson to Lee Day in 5th place. And once again, Brookman and Day are the quickest of this front 5. That's just going to continue to close up. But John Emerson has responded to the pressure though, because on that previous lap he was a 10th quicker than Madison Down. But I still don't think that these drivers are showing their hands just yet. There's still 10 laps left in the race, and anything can change in a heartbeat.
I think the smart thing to do for Down here, he's probably not all that keen to use up too much fuel to have an attack just yet, but he could really benefit from staying behind John for a couple of laps and making the most of that that draft down that back straight. It's incredibly long, and it's a nice little advantage there to be saving that fuel. You can see John just a little bit sideways on exit, just touching the dirt a little bit, but didn't lose too much ground, which is good. So a nice little battle really starting to heat up now. It's a great camera angle here from the chopper. We'll give you a really good understanding of some of the different lines and braking markers that these guys use. It looks like they're fairly tidy on exit there too, which is good.
Both drivers, no doubt, are going to have to be very careful with how they plan their next moves. I think that John Emerson is just going to have to keep his cool, stay calm, and just keep doing exactly what he's doing and respond to anything that Madison Down does try to pull. Because the longer that he leaves it, the better chance that Emerson is going to have. But of course, if Madison Down...
Oh, sorry, there's been a bit of
traffic
moment just in front of our race leader. It's going to close things up.
No!
Contact!
They're around.
Emerson, our race leader, has had massive contact there with Madison Down.
Muggleton through to the lead of the race.
Wow, big altercation there with lap traffic. That was Christopher Hand back there. All sorts of drama, and that's had a big major play on the race outcome now. Emerson has lost all positions. Lee Day's in front of him. Renz Brookman as well. But Josh Muggleton will now take the lead as we check out a race recall replay.
Wow, there was a back marker that got in the way. Muggleton and Emerson got 3 wide with him, and there was contact.
Yeah, it just looked like Emerson got a little bit sideways and Down was trying to make the move, and that gap closed up and they all came together, and geez, didn't the world open up for Josh Muggleton?
Well, it was an ugly moment.
Well, we said this race wasn't over. So much has happened now. Our leader from the last lap, John Emerson, now finds himself back in 5th place, and let's have a look at that margin. It's probably going to be a good 4 or 5 seconds back from the race leader.
Yeah, roles are reversed there. It was Emerson, who had 4 seconds back to P5. Now he's in P5, 4 seconds back from the lead. And the leader of this race right now, Tats.com Falcon, Josh Muggleton, our reigning champ.
Unbelievable set of circumstances. We said that we just weren't sure just how this was going to play out. Obviously, we thought the big factor was going to be fuel, but never would we thought a little bit of carnage between the leaders. But just an unfortunate set of circumstances. I don't know if Emerson just got on the throttle a little bit, got sideways, and unfortunately coming together for all those guys. But big change in the way this race is all starting to pan out.
Now I want to know how Muggleton's been going with his fuel saving, because he looked like he was in a quiet sort of spot running in third. Now we'll run through some gains and losses on screen at the moment. Been a lot of movement here. You can see that the front 4 guys have all moved up 2 positions. Biggest mover at the moment though still Wayne Burke up 5. Val Ritchie's down 6 positions from pole. And then of course Lee Ellis and Michael Fabian out of the race.
Check out some of the action back here for 6th and 7th place. This battle between Sean Kelly and Vale Ritchie's. Vale's found himself a little bit of pace, obviously, from that earlier altercation, and really starting to give Sean Kelly the hurry up.
Yeah, well, we know he's got pace, Vale Ritchie's. He was of course, the pole sitter having a big look here. Thinks a bit of it, but that...
Kelly's going to run wide. It's going to be side by side. These guys don't want to give an inch. They're running out of laps, but it's going to be going around the outside. Kelly's got the inside move. Who's going to get it done? They're going to hold it side by side through the chicane. He gets the job done. Great bit of driving there from Vale Ritchie's.
No, it was fantastic bit of driving there. Val did manage to hold on to the outside. Great work by Sean Kelly to leave enough sort of room, and through Val Ritchie's goes.
This is 4-car train back here. Bo Cubis, Marlon McMullen, Tobias Cerny and Scott Uren. These guys having a great little battle for 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th.
There's intense fights no matter where you look. Of course, that's the nature of these fuel saves, is that, you know, drivers come and go.
Oh, look at this little sideways off there. Supercar Fender and Falcon. Nice little move there from Scott Uren as he slid it into the corner.
That's what you call taking the position, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, it was nice of Tobias just to open up the steering a little bit, because that could have been all sorts of ugly.
Hey, back up the front though. Front 4 cars now. Coming to 6 laps to go, separated by only 1.5 seconds. Muggleton down, Brookman and Day make up your top 4. Jeez, this is going to be a fantastic battle to the end here, Sandman.
Mate, what I'd give to see all these fuel numbers that these guys are carrying, because like you said, lap 25 to 30, and it's really coming down to it. 1.5 seconds covers the top 4 drivers, so anyone here could take the win.
Honestly, guys, I wish I could tell you what the fuel numbers are. Oh, looks like Marlon's trying to make a move on Bo Cubis. I don't think that's been successful. But I was going to say, I wish I could give you those fuel numbers, but everyone is as quiet as mice. No one's saying anything about fuel numbers right now.
I bet there's probably a few nervous souls out there, no doubt. How's this battle up here between the Tats boys? Josh Muggleton, Madison down. He was going to have a bit of a move up the inside there, but thought better of it. Last thing you want is a bit of nose-to-tail action between teammates.
I think Renz is just looking for either of the Tats.com cars to make a mistake.
He's looking quite racy here too. We were worried about maybe a little bit of damage to the front of that Falcon, but that's definitely got no effect on him at the moment. He's actually carrying some pretty good speed.
He does look like he's prepared to fight the hardest out of these 4 drivers. You can throw a blanket over him, couldn't you? This is awesome. That bit of fighting between Down and Brookman has allowed Muggleton to open the gap ever so slightly, but of course there's still going to be some fuel saving to happen to get these guys to the end.
One man who hasn't given up is our man John Emerson, who was our leader a couple of laps to go. Fastest car on track last time round, and he's closed that margin to under, 3.6 seconds now.
Well, that is how you drive after you've been unfortunately taken out from the lead in those sort of circumstances. He'll have his head down, trying as hard as he can to be able to make up some ground. Hopefully it won't hurt him in the fuel numbers, because that'd just ruin his night, wouldn't it?
Oh, this is actually Curtis Chipaway really harassing the back of Wayne Burke. Looks like he's got a decent run out of here. Can he get the job done if he can carry that speed and tuck up underneath Wayne Burke? And trying to get a nice little draft to get the job done up the inside with the hairpin. Let's see. Oh, he's thinking about it, just moving around a little bit in the rearview mirror, trying to put Wayne off. A great little battle between these guys.
Been intense every single time we've looked at those Osram Falcons.
Oh, how's this
Wow.
action here? Marlon McMullen, Scott Uren. These old guys are really having a red hot go into the hairpin. We'll go to our race recall replay just to show you some of that action that was happening, but we'll also keep an eye on the front guys too. They're going to cross the line. It's going to be lap 27 or 30. A little bit of a moment there from Madison down for these guys up front. It's going to be Ren Brookman looking up the inside. Not quite. Trying to get the nose up alongside Madison down. Couldn't quite get the job done. That's really going to close these guys up. Madison down, Ren Brookman and Lee Day.
Brookman is definitely the driver to watch at the moment, I think. He's putting massive pressure on the back of Madison down. Josh Muggleton's going to be loving seeing this in his mirror.
That's exactly right. Really working into his favour. He can just watch those fuel numbers and concentrate on his braking zones and let these guys race behind him, because the more they race, the more of a little bit of a margin will be able to open up.
At the same time, though, a driver in a really good position is Lee Day. I expect that he's just going to be sitting there patient at the moment. Ren's doing all the work on the back of that Tats.com Falcon. So Lee Day will hoping to be capitalised. If Ren's makes the move on Madison down, Lee will be there to try and take advantage at the same time.
We're coming into line with 3 laps to go. Your race leader, Josh Muggleton, leading at Tats.com 1-2 over Madison down. Ren's Brookman back there in third, Lee Day fourth, but this action back here with Marlon McMullen. A little bit of side by side now. You can see both Cumis and Marlon nearly going to get off. Oh, it's off on the turn. Now that's going to give Scott Uran the position. He'll make up 2 spots, but it's not over. Both Cumis now thinking about a move up the inside. But wow, Scott just covers his line, and now it's Marlon McMullen looking up the inside again.
Massive dive by McMullen there. Fantastic move to take the position back. Scott Uren makes up 2 positions in the one corner, but he's sideways coming out of that second hairpin.
So much action on track. These guys are battling it out for 14th, 15th. And we've got a great battle up front between teammates Josh Muggleton and Madison Down. Now we're just hearing reports that Bo Cumis has had contact with Wayne Burke. Now let's look at this margin up front. Josh Muggleton and Madison Down, unbelievable. These guys, they know what fuel they've got now. Too bad if they can't make it towards the end. They've been fuel saving from the drop of the green flag, and it's been amazing just how it's all started to play out. John Emerson was your race leader, and we saw that contact, but now it looks like Madison Down is just a little bit sideways coming into those braking zones, but these guys are going to have to contend with a little bit more lap traffic too in front of them.
Well, that last incident with Emerson and Down showed us just how fast things can change. So as we come now to 2 laps to go, Muggleton is in the best position, but not over yet by a long shot. So crossing the line, Muggleton from Down, Brookman, Day and Emerson, your top 5. But it's these front 4 that have got the fight at the moment. And we're going to come up to lap traffic again before this race is over. Chris Hendricks pulls out of the way though, fantastic move. Yeah, great bit of sportsmanship there, just let the leaders through. He doesn't want to get involved in any more drama, so that was a nice bit of sportsmanship there from Christopher Hand. This action back here too, Scott Uren trying to look up the inside of Mitch McLeod. Oh, not quite.
Looked like he was going to take a big dive there. This has brought Marlon McMullen back into it too. Little three-car battle here as the guys battle it out. Mitch McLeod will hold off Scott Uren, but Marlon's there right now too.
Geez, they are all over each other. I think that we're going to see someone try to make a dive. Uren having a big look. Marlon going to try and stick the nose in, get a good run onto the back straight. Jeez. Fantastic bit of driving by these three guys. I think that Uren's going to have a big, big look into the hairpin here on Mitch McLeod.
Oh, has he got it under brakes? Has he got enough to pull it up? He's going to make it
it's a late move, but they're around.
Contact there from McLeod. They're both going to go around. They hold on to it. McMullen's on. He's off under the grass. Contact from Mitch McLeod. And now that's sent Marlon round.
Oh, wow. Heartbreak there for Marlon McMullen, but I don't know how Mitch McLeod and Scott Uren didn't spin.
So Marlon's dropped another 2 spots. Bo Cubis and Tobias Azerni have now got round him.
With that though, we are on the last lap. Up at the front, the Madison Down runs wide at the first turn. Josh Muggleton still leads, but geez, the pressure that Renz Brookman is putting on Madison Down is phenomenal.
And this is working into the favour of our reigning series champion, Josh Muggleton. He's got himself a healthy little margin. The guys back there will start battling it out between them. It's Town, Brookman and Day. They're fighting for those last couple of spots on the podium. But Josh Muggleton in the Tats.com Falcon doing a nice job as he comes down the back straightaway for the last time.
Now I noticed in that corner before that long back straight that Renz still rolled out of the throttle very, very early, so they're probably even still fuel saving on this lap. We won't know until the drivers actually cross the start-finish line exactly where everyone is going to end up. All Muggleton has to do though is hope he's got enough fuel in the tank because he's got a second clear. He's got a second gap back to his teammate Madison Down. Only a handful of corners remaining. Look at him close up in these hairpins. But Renz Brookman has got massive pressure from behind with Lee Day. Just 2 corners remaining now.
It's been a sensational battle all race long. So many things have changed throughout this race, but one thing for sure, it's Josh Muggleton coming out of the last turn. Our reigning V8 Supercar Series champion comes across the start-finish line for a Tats.com 1-2 over his teammate, Madison Down.
That was a fantastic fight. Great racing from start to finish there. Beautiful drive by Josh Muggleton.
Rounding out the rest of the positions, it's Renz Brookman, Lee Day in 4th. Unfortunate for John Emerson, he'll bring it home for 5th place. Val Ritchie's in 6th. Sean Kelly in 7th place. Dean O'Brien will come home in 8th. Curtis Chipaway will come home in 9th. And Bo Cattell will round out your top 10.
And by the way, it seems like Mitchell McLeod has run out of fuel.
On a battle too, Marlon McMullen will cross the line. A great little battle back there between Tobias Azerni and Bo Cubis. So the rest of the top 10, it's Wayne Burke in 11th, Scott Uren 12th, Marlon McMullen will come home in 13th, Bo Cubis 14th, Tobias Azerni 15th, Richard Hunter in 16th, Mitch McLeod hasn't quite rolled across the start-finish line. He's out of fuel and he'll come home for 18th. If he can cross across the start-finish line. And back there, Phil Hobbs, he's out of fuel too, back there in 19th place. Christopher Hen will be in 20th, Lee Ellis in 21st, and of course Michael Fabian in 22nd.
Well, we were expecting fireworks tonight, and didn't we get it, Sandman? That was a fantastic race. So many different storylines to follow. Great racing through the pack, an intense battle for the lead, and Josh Muggleton begins the season where he finished the last one off.
Mate, we didn't know what we were in store for, did we? We had a TTL front row. Unfortunately, Val Ritchie's didn't get the start he wanted. Emerson had an absolute blinder, opened up a great gap over the rest of the field, and of course, unfortunately got caught up with some lap traffic, and he'll end up coming home in 5th place. But tell you what, Muggleton just stayed out of trouble, and yeah, it was so hard to pick a winner from that race. You just never knew what was going to happen. So we'll quickly run through our race order from start to finish. Our winner, Josh Muggleton, for the opening round of the iRacing V8 Supercar Series. Season 4, great start to his championship campaign. And Madison Down, his teammate in P2. Renz Brookman in 3rd, Lee Day in 4th, John Emerson in 5th place. Var Ritchie's in 6th, Sean Kelly in 7th, Dean O'Brien in 8th, Curtis Chipaway 9th, Bo Cattell in 10th. In 11th place, Wayne Burke, 12th, Scott Uren, Marl McMullen in 13th, Bo Cubis in 14th, Tobias Azerni in 15th, Richard Hunter in 16th, Clayton Brooks in 17th, Mitch McLeod in 18th, Phil Hobbs in 19th, Christopher Henn in 20th, and of course Lee Ellis in 21st and Michael Fabian in 22nd after their altercation in the early running of this race. Now we've got a chance. We'll cross to our pit reporter. Thanks to Astro Gaming Headsets for Reece Gardner, mate. You got some info on the second split?
Yep, I do have the top 10 finishing order for Split 2. It is as follows. Brad Ryan won the race by a commanding margin of about 12 or 13 seconds. Ian Ford in second. Adrian Stratford in third. Samuel Collins fourth. Paul Gallen in fifth. Michael Schreier in sixth. Sanjin Delalich in seventh. Dave Oliver eighth. Jared Filsell finished in ninth, and Carwin May rounded out the top 10. Brett Stiles, who I did report as being in 10th midway through the race, he ran out of fuel on the last lap and he was crawling around as he finished the race. Cars passing him everywhere, so bad luck to him, but that's your top 10 finishing order for Split 2.
Excellent work, Reece. Nice little touch there, bringing us all the results from Split 2, mate. We appreciate all your work, and mate, looked like it was a great little race back there, but heartbreak for the pace that Brad Ryan had to miss out on the top split by, I think it was just 6 iRating points.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a shame for Brad Ryan, but with that win, hopefully we'll see him back on the top split next week.
All right, we've got a couple of drivers coming into the commentary box now, and we'll have a quick chat to them. We'll start with our race winner, Josh Muggleton. A fantastic effort. Nice way to bounce back after claiming the championship last year, mate.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but it's a pretty hollow victory really, because John really deserved that. Yeah, the race wasn't finished, but he was going a long way to winning it. That was just ludicrous what happened there with that back marker. So yeah, really feel for him. Really disappointed for him. But in saying that, I was all over the place really early. Made a few mistakes, got a slow down. Killed the tyres a bit. So once I got that lead there, I just concentrated on driving it nice and straight, using the right amount of fuel and saving a little bit for the end, and yeah, just bringing it home. So yeah, lucky to win that one, but certainly not happy about winning it. If you can ever be unhappy with winning, that'd be one of them. So but still, win's a win and good start to the championship. So yeah.
How difficult was it, mate? We talked about it, such a huge fuel-saving race, but to save fuel and race hard at the same time, it's like those two components don't really go together.
Yeah, it's bloody hard, mate. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's bloody hard. So, and even more so that I only cut my first laps this afternoon. So to come in and find pace in qualifying and then to change that to fuel saving for the race was pretty tough. So yeah, like I said, I wasn't expecting that at all. So yeah, I'm going to be struggling to find time this season to do practice and get on here all that often. So I was aiming for top fives really. So yeah, come away with a win and is good.
Of course, leading home a Tats.com 1-2, your teammate Madison down. Madison, mate, all sorts of things going on in that race.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting, wasn't it? Got a pretty good start off the line there, which is rare for me, and grabbed a position straight away. But yeah, benefited from Muggo's bugger up there early on, and was having a pretty good run with John until that lapped car got in the way of us a little bit, and we had a bit of a crash. So really unlucky to John though. I mean, he really deserved that win. I don't think I was going to get round him. Obviously, I don't know what his fuel situation was, but he was commanding the race. I was pretty much just in the tow, and yeah, I don't think I was going to get him. So super bad luck to John.
It was an interesting set of circumstances. All we were a bit baffled about his pace at the start. It was incredible, and we were starting to wonder just how it was going to unfold, whether he was going to drop back a little bit later on, or whether you guys could actually close that margin and save fuel at the same time.
Yeah, it was shaping up to be a great finish. It's a lot harder to save fuel when you're leading the race, so a bit of an unknown, what his fuel situation was. I know I, myself, and probably Muggo were saving a bit more in the draft in the hope that John would struggle at the end. So it's a real shame that it didn't pan out and didn't have a good finish there. But great job to Muggo. Kicked off, his title defence very, very well tonight. So great to have a Tats.com 1-2 again.
Looking at us in the commentary box, P3 for tonight. Renz Brookman, mate, started in 5th, came home in 3rd. Tell us a bit about your race.
Yeah, I was a bit lucky there with that incident between the back marker and John. Didn't actually see what happened, but yeah, I was a bit lucky with that. But yeah, I had a good fight, and I was actually surprised I had the pace to close the gap on Muggleton and Madison.
Now, of course, not many people enjoy making positions of someone's misfortune, but you did everything right, mate. You stayed out of trouble, and a podium result. Good little battle there with Madison in the end in the closing stages.
Yeah, I could just about keep up. I was a little bit short on fuel, but yeah, good to be back again.
Just having a look who else is in the commentary box. Dean O'Brien there, mate. Coming home in 8th place, started 7th. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I had a little bit of internet troubles at the start and actually missed the start by a little bit. So I got a shocking start and lost a few spots. And made a few back and got stuck behind someone that was a little bit slower, and it's so hard to pass when you're saving fuel. So we lost a bit of ground to that front pack and ended up staying about 8th to 10th the whole race. It's pretty tough.
How'd you go saving fuel, mate? Did it do your head in?
Just about. I ran out about 50 metres from the finish line, so I was pretty tight the whole race.
Let's see who else we got. Bo Cattell joins us in the commentary box, mate. P10 for you tonight. Mixed emotions about tonight's race?
Yeah, no, I was happy with the result. I had a really, really good spotter. He really helped me, and I had quite a bit of fuel left at the end to take advantage of a couple of the guys that were struggling, so that was good. It was good to stay out of trouble and give the Telstra car a good run first race.
How did you manage your fuel, mate? I know a lot of people have got the fortune of running telemetry, which sort of gives you somewhat of understanding of what sort of fuel numbers you need to hit. How did you go throughout that race just trying to manage your fuel?
Basically, I left that job to the spotter, and I was off the throttle as much as possible and not even full throttle down the main straight, and just, I was lucky. There weren't too many people right on my bumper, so I was able to, take advantage of that and roll out a bit more often, so it's good.
Well, all the best for next week, mate. Who else joined us? Wayne Burks joined us in the commentary box too. Wayne, mate, you had your fair share of dramas, making a nice couple of moves there, and a great little battle there pretty much throughout the whole race.
Yeah, like Dean said, both Osram cars are really good today. It's just that we sort of qualified a little bit further back than what we would have liked. And we got stuck behind, I think it was one of the Volvo cars. And by the time, once they get a brake on you, you can't make it up because you can't push because of the fuel saving. And it's so hard.
And then you got the added pressure of racing your teammate too, and the last thing you want to do is break team orders and have contact between you two. Yeah,
that's the worst when you're trying to not run into the back of him, but you also think you're a little bit faster when you're probably not. But it's pretty good. We got a pretty good relationship, me and Dino now, so we'll keep coming. We'll give the Tats guys and the ANZ guys a run for the money later this season, I think.
Well, good luck next week, and of course throughout the rest of the season, mate. Thanks for popping by the commentary box. Who else we got in here? Scotty, is that Scott you're in there, mate?
Yeah, it is. How you going, Sam, man?
Good, buddy. A little bit further down the field than we're used to seeing you, mate. What is that coming home in 12th place tonight?
Yeah, we're struggling to find pace on the track. I'd be doing okay times in practice, but whether it's the weather or I was another half second at least off of it in quali, so put me back in the pack, but saved enough fuel, so was able to hold on to the tail of a few guys and make the most of it towards the end of the race.
Of course, not like we said, not the start you'd probably like, but a new team for you, so an exciting season ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been working with the guys trying different setups, particularly this race with its characteristics. So it's been good fun. Hopefully, I'll not have as hard a time at other tracks, but we'll see what comes. The team is really fun at the moment, so really enjoying it.
And someone who was joining us in the commentary box too, Marlon McMullen. Marlon, you had plenty of great battles up and down throughout this race, and unfortunately a little bit of contact there towards the end.
Oh, it's racing at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, we're all battling as hard as we can, and it was a fantastic stoush between, I think it was more than 3 or 4 drivers, and as I said, that bloody Volvo driver was holding us up for a little bit of a while, but, you know, all of us had a little pounce on each other, and we all were sussing each other out. You know, it was an awesome battle. Scotty did a really good move down me, so I was a bit upset about that, so I had to get him back the next lap. And other than that, you know, I saw a battle with Scott and Mitchell towards the end. I got a little bit greedy. I saw that they had a little bit of coming together, and I came off second best. But you know, you got to try at the end of the day.
How did you go managing the race, mate? Because other people have different strategies as far as tackling this fuel issue. Some people will go hard at the start, or you know, save fuel at the start. How did you go about it, mate?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't really get to do as much race practice as I wanted to because my computer died yesterday. So 20 minutes before the race, I just got the computer up and running, and you know, brand new rig, it's a bit tedious trying to learn, you know, going from 60 frames, for example, up to 80 frames. So I didn't get the practice in, but I did a race the other day, and I learnt, you know, where I needed to save, and I went a bit quicker at the start than what I would have wanted to, so I had to save a little bit more fuel towards the end. But as I say, at the end of the day, everyone's saving to the last lap.
Well, it's early days in the championship, mate. Only round 1, so all the best for the rest of the season, mate. And we look forward to watching your progress throughout the season.
Thanks, mate.
Now, I'll talk to my trusty director. I don't know, some of the people coming in and out. Have I missed anyone? John Emerson joined us in the commentary box. John, you there, mate?
Yeah, buddy. How you doing?
Good, mate. Obviously, you'd be fairly disappointed with tonight's result. Sensational pace, a great start, and gapping the field the way you did. You were almost starting to look unstoppable there for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to out-qualify the Tats boys and actually be faster than them on track. I think the field staging is probably the only way that I'll be able to do that. But yeah, not a pleasant end, I must say.
Overall, you got to be pretty happy. The good game Falcon was hooked up, mate. The pace was pretty good. So for the opening round of the championship, it's got to put you in good stride for the rest of the season.
Yeah, with Brad coming on board and everything like that, it's just been really good this past week. Vale's pumped out a fantastic set that I think we're going to use as a base from here on in. It was just amazingly hooked up. So yeah, onwards and upwards to Oran Park. But yeah, well done to Muggo and Mad. They stuck with it and yeah, got the podiums and yeah, I think Renz as well. Yeah, well done.
And of course, talking about that, the pace of Brad Ryan, that would have been a TTL top 3 for qualifying, mate. So out on the top split by only a couple of points, but no doubt you'll be very strong next week.
Yeah. It seems Brad didn't make the top split because of somebody who ended up changing the outcome of the race quite a bit. So probably would have been a very different story had that person not signed up. But that's the breaks. That's how it goes, and just gotta roll with it and move on.
All the best for the rest of the season, mate, and good looking paint scheme there for the Good Game Falcon, mate.
Yeah, go Good Game. Proud of it.
And who else have I missed? Lee Ellis. Lee. You had your fair share of dramas as well, mate.
Yeah, not wrong. Left work early today and wasn't feeling the best for the race, so pretty average race for the TTR car for me, but there's not much you can do. Sorry, Fabian, for had nowhere to go.
Looks like just a bit of a victim of circumstances. Just a good hard run, all of you guys, and it's such a tricky corner at the best of times when you just single car, but when you've got a number of cars around you, that it changes everything tenfold, doesn't it?
Oh, exactly. Like I tried to give enough room. I saw Dean send one on Bo, and then as I was trying to keep out on the outside, next thing I know, I was not facing the right way. So yeah, there's not much I could really do about it at that stage. So I was a little bit angry, but yeah, my car didn't even want to turn right at all after that. So the race was over, and obviously Fabian's was as well. So yeah, but well done to Muggo and Mad, and bad luck John for that incident. It's bad luck.
Well, like I touched on, mate, it's early days in the championship, round one, so plenty of time to make up for lost ground, mate, and no doubt you'll come on strong for the rest of the season.
Cheers, man. I did well. I got a good points last night, so I'm a little bit happy with it, but oh, thanks.
Also, I think the last of our drivers to join us in the commentary box, Sean Kelly. Are you there, mate?
Yeah, hey guys.
Mate, what was that, 7th place for you tonight? Tell us a bit about your race.
Yeah, I'll take 7th. Used up a bit too much fuel in the first 5 laps, and then tried to save a bit and just lost touch or making a few mistakes and back of the guys like I should have, and I saved too much fuel and now came out and had a pace. So yeah, just thought I'd bring it home, and yeah, so I'll take it. It's okay.
We said, talking in the pre-race show, mate, it's one of those catch-22s to try and save fuel and be quick and race the guys around you. It's, those two don't go hand in hand. So a brilliant job, and no doubt you'll be looking forward to the rest of the season with your new team.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be an awesome season with lots of drivers back on board. Watch.
Well, before we wrap things up, big shout out to Justin Murray from V8 Supercar Fan Group and Formula Ford driver Hamish Reedman watching on the Gold Coast. So hopefully they've enjoyed the broadcast. Obviously, I think Justin would be a little bit more happy if the V8 Supercar Fan Group cars had walked away with it. But nevertheless, it's a long season, and we appreciate all the support that V8 Supercar Fan Group offers everyone here at V8's Online. And we've seen a cracker of a race, boys. Leo, that race definitely had a little bit of everything, didn't it?
Oh, there's some explosive fights in there. There was, of course, the fuel drama to follow up on. And, geez, it just goes to show that you can't ever predict what these things are going to be like. Heartbreak for John Emerson, but then a fantastic result for the Tats.com cars. It's going to be another tight championship fight, I expect. Roll on Oran Park. I can't wait for that one. That's going to be an exciting race.
Yeah, we head there next week, 34 laps around there. And, of course, our broadcast kicks off from 8:30. So no doubt all these guys have already sort of started to think about setups for Oran Park, and obviously a track that's all very near and dear to all of us here at V8's Online and everyone on the iRacing community. It's a great racetrack and certainly going to be a good mix. But appreciate your efforts, Leo, and can't wait for next week.
That's right. Thanks again for having us. Thanks to all the drivers, and yeah, looking forward to Oran Park. Bring it on.
And, of course, a big thank you to our man, Reese Gardner, who gave us all the goss, especially from Split 2, thanks to Astro Gaming headsets.
Yeah, no problem, guys. It was fun reporting on Split 2 this race. I mean, I did promise that I would start doing this last season, and looks like it went pretty well. Look forward to Split 2 updates next race. I am infinite. I am eternal. I can now report on everything. I have ears everywhere.
You the man, mate. And, of course, we wouldn't have expected that drama. Of course, the pace that Brad Ryan had, we expected him to be right at the pointy end in the main split, but just missed out by, I think it was only 6 points in the end there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we hope to see Brad in the top split next week, and bring on Oran Park. Classic Australian track, does not exist in real life anymore, but we have it forever in iRacing.
And, of course, busy week for us here at V8's Online. Of course, the next broadcast we'll have for you is Wednesday night from 9:15 p.m. Of course, the next round of the Sim Instruments Truck Series gets underway. Round 2 from Phoenix International Raceway. Those guys will have 35 laps in front of them. And, of course, a brand new series to our iRacing broadcast here at V8's Online is the Proto GT Challenge. That kicks off from Sunday nights at 8 p.m. And we saw an absolute cracker of a round for the opening round of the championship with the HDPs, the Chevy Corvettes and the Ford GTs. They're going to head to Suzuka for round 2. And, of course, those races are for 45 minutes. And of course, we touched on for next week's round of the iRacing V8 Supercar Series. Next Monday night from 8:30 p.m, the iRacing.com V8 Supercar Series heads to Oran Park, 34 laps. And no doubt all these guys have already started to work out their strategies. And of course, we're all looking forward to that one. All right, we're going to wrap things up here at V8's Online. Of course, we couldn't have this broadcast go together without our good friends at V8 Supercar Fan Group, Direct Clutch Services, and of course, our very own V8's Online Superstore. Appreciate all your time and tuning in for our broadcast. We've had a great round for the championship. Looking forward to many more races to come. But your winner for round 1 of Okayama is Josh Muggleton.